Rock, metal, prog, and everything in between. If you're into rock, you've come to the right place. Welcome to this episode of Talkin Rock with Meltdown. Don't forget to follow the audio-only Talkin Rock podcast on all podcast platforms. And now, it's time for today's conversation. Here's Meltdown.
Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man, glad to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You guys have a lot of stuff going on this year. We're going to talk about as much of it as we can, but you just mentioned before we started that you head out to ShipRocked. Not a bad life.
No, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. You know, the last cruise we got to do was early 2020, and then the world shut down. So we're hoping for a better outcome this time.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that my wife and kids went on a cruise. It was around Valentine's Day 2020, right before that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably around this time. Was it also ShipRocked?
I think it was. It was ShipRocked or a Southern Rock cruise or one of the ones that those are the ones that we've done the most. So it would have been one of those two, most likely.
How many cruises have you done?
Dude, I couldn't even tell you right off. That's one of I'm so bad with memory. It's not good.
Well, I could tell you I've been on two. So
Nice.
when you're up here in Detroit, you got to get down to the South somehow, and you hop on these cruises. But you got the show coming up here after your cruise at District 142 of St. Antonio. That comes up on Sunday, February 25th. So tell me what's going on with Blackstone Cherry. Got the record that dropped last year. What's happening with you guys?
Yeah, dude, new record out. We just dropped a new single called "When the Pain Comes," so we're excited about that. You know, dude, look, we're a long time into this thing now. So the fact that we're still putting out new music and people still get excited about it, you can't really ask for much more than that at this point. You know, 8 records deep, and people seem to be latching onto the music now as much as ever. So that's a great thing. The touring for the year is wide open, so everything seems to be looking good, man.
Yeah, and I was just looking up you guys and stuff. You're from Edmonton, Kentucky, which is I think where you're for now. That looks like my kind of place. I might have to take a swing by there next time I drive down to Nashville. How far away are you from Nashville? A couple hours?
About 2 hours. We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but I love it, man. I've lived here my entire life. We got a couple of little local restaurants, a McDonald's, a Pizza Hut, and 6 gas stations. But we got it going on. It's all right.
Yeah. How does a kid growing up in the middle of nowhere become a rock fan?
Man, music, I think that's just the power of music. It speaks to everybody on its own terms, on its own time, and in its own way. I grew up mainly around country music, honestly, country and bluegrass stuff. My dad played, in country cover bands around his whole life, and my grandpa played bluegrass. But I was the first guy to, play rock and roll much in my family. And I don't know. I guess the music that I fell in love with kind of took a hold of me. And I wanted to sound more like that than the country records that I liked.
Yeah, I grew up in the sticks myself as well. And I think I've talked about this before, but Ozzy's Crazy Train changed my life. That one song.
Yeah, dude. Man, I remember, I was a kid in the MTV generation. So, all through the 90s, you had great rock and roll being played on TV. And it was something that was, even though I lived out in the country, when we had cable, the times that we did, it was pretty awesome because music was easily accessible back then in a different way. It was on TV in front of your face to where now you just pick up your phone and find whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother is a little bit younger than me. And he taught himself how to play guitar by pausing where he'd pause the videos and he would see where they put their fingers. That's how he taught himself. How to play. All these years later, he's still playing.
Dude, if YouTube would have been around when I was a kid, it would have been a game changer.
Yeah.
I had to sit around and just pause records and start them over again or rewind cassettes. I wouldn't trade it for anything though.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the first video that you remember seeing?
Man, music videos, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure the first music video I ever saw was a CMT video, something on country music. I don't remember specifically the first one. I guess the first memory I have, though, would have been probably the Kentucky Headhunters because they're from the same town, and everybody around here knew who they were. And in the late 80s, early 90s, you couldn't turn on CMT without seeing them, and so I would probably say probably the Dumas Walker video because it had the bouncing ball with the lyrics and stuff like that. That was the one that stuck with me as a kid.
And being from Kentucky, and I feel embarrassed to even say this, but I was playing Jeopardy with my wife the other day, as we do all the time. And one of the questions came up about where the most whiskey is made or something. And I said Tennessee, and she said Kentucky. And I'm like, damn it, that's right. I drink a lot of whiskey. But
Yeah.
you guys have teamed up with Three Chord as well, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've got our own Blackstone cherry bourbon through them, and it's pretty damn good stuff. I got to say, it's nice on those cold winter nights.
Yeah, for sure. Now, did that just come about recently?
Yeah, we just did a signing of bottles. I think it's only been out since the first of the year. Because we did a signing at a local liquor store a couple weeks ago, and it was a lot of fun, man. Had a lot of people come out. We sold out of the bourbon, and it was a good day.
Now that's the bourbon with with Pat Benatar's husband, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's the guy that runs that whole thing, which is a really cool thing. I mean, you can't get much more rock and roll than the queen of rock and roll herself.
That's right. And it's like nowadays, it's like there's so many bands out there that have their own bourbons or beers or something like that.
Mhm.
What prompted you guys to get into this?
I mean, we're from Kentucky, and we all enjoy a little bit of bourbon every now and then. And it was something that we were approached with via our management, and we really liked the idea of it. We liked the concept and the way it all came together. So it seemed like a no brainer for us.
Yeah, how important is it for you to remain kind of local? You're still there after all these years.
Man, I don't know anything else, and as much as I enjoy traveling and seeing places and playing music in different places, anytime I go stay anywhere else, it's just an immediate realization that I couldn't live anywhere else.
Hmm.
That I really am so ingrained in the way of life that I've grown up in, where it's really a slow pace and nobody's in a big hurry for anything. That's like I just got back from a weekend trip to LA for the NAMM show, and that is insanely wide open. Everybody's in a hurry, and I'm so thankful to be back home.
Yeah,
It's nothing against that. I love it for a couple of days, but after a couple of days, I'm like, okay, I need that slow down. Go sit on the front porch for a little while and just watch cars go down the road.
yeah, I am exactly with you. There's no question about that. Yeah, so you're at NAMM. So, what were you doing out there? Were you just kind of looking around, or were you out there working, or what was going on?
I've got a new signature guitar that will be available. It's up for pre-order now on a couple sites, but it's coming out in March, I believe, is the actual release date. But I've got a new signature guitar called the Sarge with Chapman Guitars, and I went out to do a product demo and a little playing and stuff like that. Had a good time, man.
Yeah, did you hit up any bars and see any of the other guys play?
Man, I actually didn't. I was out there and I would do all the stuff I needed to do and talk to a lot of people about the guitar and different guitars throughout the day, hanging out. And then by the time we would go back, because we were there from 9 a.m. or so until 6 p.m. when the show closed. From open to close, it opened at 10 every day, and then vendors could go in at 9 on some days. But when you're there that long during the day and you're talking to people all day, you want to go out at night, but man, I ended up just going back to the Airbnb. We would have supper, and it wouldn't be long. I'd be like, "Yeah, I think I want to go to sleep, man." I think I was still on the Kentucky schedule too, though, where 10 p.m. was way more like midnight than 10 p.m.
Yeah, that happens all the time. We go out to Vegas and stuff. At like the third day, I find myself crashing at like 7 o'clock and then waking back up at like 11 o'clock at night and going back out. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, I never been to that NAMM show. I saw a bunch of pictures, of course, on the internet. Dave Ellefson and all those guys were out there, and that sounds like a pretty cool event.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Another cool event you guys have coming up. You're gonna be playing this Zach Wild gig coming up in Pennsylvania in September, eh?
Yeah, dude, the Berserkers Festival. That was a cool thing that got brought up to us to go out and do. And we've known Zach since 2006, 2007 when we toured with Black Label, and we played it with him again a couple times over the last few years, and it seems like more and more opportunities are popping up for us to jam with them again. So we're excited about that, man. I'd be happy to play a show with them and Rival Sons, Cody Jinks, all the great bands on the bill.
Yeah, that does look like a really cool event. That's happening in the middle of September. Maybe a road
Yeah.
trip for some people to get out there and check that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what else? What else you got going on during the summer this year? You guys hopping on a tour somewhere?
Man, we are. I know we're going to Europe for some festivals and stuff. and then we typically try to go outside of the U.S. a couple times a year for our touring plans. And then we're just going to be on the road. I mean, the record came out, and that's just our plan. It's to tour it until it's time to make another record. And as years past have shown, that's kind of our mantra. We're always on the road, as much as we can be anyway.
Yeah, you're definitely one of those road dog bands, aren't you?
Dude, that's kind of how we've stuck around all these years. We've been back and forth, whether we've had success at radio or not. So it's always been, we've always been extremely grateful and thankful for the success we do get there. But we've also always had to go out and just play live shows, from the get-go, man. But I love it because, it's new faces every time, it seems like, and it just continues to build. So we're happy as hell, man, to still be doing it all these years later and still getting the love and support that we've been getting.
Yeah,
it's crazy. The last couple singles we put out, we've ended up getting, the most added several weeks and stuff like that. So it's been a nice refresh and kick back up for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, after all these years, you still enjoy hopping on the tour bus.
Yeah, dude, we love it. I mean, that's what we live for. We're all excited as hell to get on a plane in the morning and go to Miami and go play some concerts.
Yeah. And that's the one we're gonna get on the cruise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, dude, we love it. I mean, we truly love playing music. It's not just, yes, it's the way we provide, for our families, but it's also the one thing that we wanted to do even when we weren't making any money doing it, and when we don't make any money doing it, we still go do it and love it,
Who else is playing ShipRocked this year?
I know Kill Switch is on there. Dorothy. It's a long list of bands, man. A lot of really great bands, but I can't remember them all off the top of my head. But I do remember. I know Kill Switch is doing their meet and greet at the same, because they have a couple of different meet and greets on the boat, and we're doing the same one that they are. So we're all excited about that. We'll probably try to sneak in line. And then I know Dorothy's on there, and there's I think The Warning, or maybe I read that wrong. I know Ava Under Fire.
Oh yeah, they're from here.
Yeah, a lot of newer bands, man. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
a lot of bands I haven't got to check out live yet too. Because when we tour, a lot of times we're either headlining or we'll go out and play with bands like Skinner and ZZ Top that we're doing later in the year and stuff like that. So, we haven't got to tour with a lot of the younger bands. I mean, dude, our first record came out in 2006. So I'm sitting here looking, going, okay, some of these bands' first record came out last year.
Right.
So it's, but I love it, man. It keeps you knowing that rock and roll is still alive and well.
Yeah. So, you just mentioned Ava Under Fire. They're from here. Do you have any connection to any Detroit rock music? There's a lot of music has come out of this area.
Man, one of my favorite bands, I want to think several of them at least were around that area, a band called Cactus in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
And that band was a massive, massive influence on our whole band, really. MC5 are a Detroit band too, right? Aren't they up around that area?
Yeah, they're from Ann Arbor, but yeah, Detroit, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just that, I don't know, both those bands had that like FU mentality, you know what I mean? Of just, I don't know, it's kind of like, I tell you what you get of bands from that kind of area. It reminds me of that same attitude that bands from Birmingham, England have. It's a steel town, and it's like a working class town, you know what I mean? And there's just a different kind of attitude in the music that comes out of there. And the music from bands like Cactus and MC5, and even you look at Eminem or dudes like Kid Rock, stuff like that. It was all about attitude for those bands. You know what I mean? And I really think that you get that in really heart of the people, working class kind of areas.
Yeah, and you probably noticed that in the crowds too, right? I mean, the Midwest.
Dude, anytime, dude, we can come up and play the Machine Shop, and we know that when we get to Flint, up in that area, that it is going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin and the guys do a great job up there. I love going to play.
Oh, yeah. Dude, since 2006, we've been doing it, and I hope it never stops.
Yeah. Well, I'll send that along to Kevin, and we'll see you at District 142 here in Detroit. Kevin and Julie are kind of working together with between those.
Nice.
So yeah, so they're a couple hours apart.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're coming through town with St. Ansonia, and that District 142, by the way, is really nice. It just opened up last year, so you'll be able to check that out.
Yeah, dude. I've got some friends up in Detroit, and they were telling me that it's a super nice, super awesome venue. So
Yeah, it's
it'll be
really
cool, man.
Yeah, and they got some Maker's Mark in there. That's their that's
Yeah.
that's their drink of
Dip
choice.
it in red wax. Golly, that's tough. It gets me every now and then. That stuff make me mean. I don't know about that. I do like a good tequila, a good bourbon though.
Yeah, well, have some on the ship for me, okay?
Oh, you best believe I'm gonna drink a lot.